Seeing as it's been a few days, even more than a week, since I posted a video, I thought I would try a new format for a video today. Now, if you've listened to other videos, you see that I'm quite conservative. I like conservative principles. I also like liberty, and I am especially fond of freedom, true freedom that we receive from self-control, not from the government. What do I mean by this? If you are given lots and lots of freedom, you may with that freedom do things that harm yourself. Like if all drugs became legal today, no doubt the number of drug users would go up. But really, is the drugs being illegal stopping people from doing drugs? No, not really. It's just slowing it down or preventing the strongest among us, because we have a deterrent, the law. Really, the problem with something like drugs is the moral fabric of the society and that it's lacking. See, if we taught young people that drugs weren't only bad for you, but it was bad for you to do things that are bad for you, that would be a start. See, morality applies to more than just don't tread on me principles. America, at the end of the day, should not be a country where we just always fight to be more free. Some things hurt other people, and if we can prevent people from hurting themselves, that to me is a worthwhile cause. Now, I recently listened to something on feminism that changed my mind. I have for a long time been a proponent of feminism, not in the sense that liberals talk about it, but something along the lines I believed feminism was good in so much that it brought women to an equal standing with men. But I'm not so sure anymore. I think if something seeks to destroy the family, which feminism has always done since its inception, that's a bad thing. And to show you what I mean, let me make an analogy to socialism, or what it really should be called, communism. Communism is never good. Even if your goal is to make people more equal, the idea of communism is still evil because it's force and taking things away from people without their permission. Things that they have earned, things that they are owed. Feminism is along the same lines in my mind. If we're destroying families, that's not a good thing. Even if it's in the name of liberation, even if it's in the name of freedom, we need to conserve. There's that word. Conservatives want to conserve things, and families are the most important unit in a society. If I were to trace back all of our problems that we're having now, I would probably start in the 60s, and I think the sexual revolution comes quickly after. And this was the beginning of the dismantling, systematic dismantling, of the family. Drugs, alcohol, crime, they all follow. But fatherless homes and broken homes, and even reconstructed homes in certain cases, create broken people. And we need to recognize as conservatives that feminism is not serving in our best interests. It's kind of like a slogan we all want, equality for everyone, but in reality it's harmful, similar to communism. I've already gone over that, so I won't do it again, but just because something sounds like a good idea, like equal rights, doesn't necessarily make it good or do good things. If you watch or read things from the 1800s, and when I say watch, I mean historical reenactments, of course, videos and movies, they respected women even more than now. They protected them. They cherished their women. They were married, and once they were married, they stayed married. There were instances of abuse, just as there are now, but the controls in society that, for instance, domineering partners, mostly men, would have over their partners, were less prevalent, and most families were a lot closer and even larger than they are now. Things are of course different now, and I would never for a second try to argue that we should all live on farms again, because I don't think that would actually make our lives better. I recently was thinking about social media and its effects on especially youth, and how it's specifically designed not only to be addictive, but is actually harmful and harms the youth brain, and everyone's brain for that matter. I don't think social media has been a net positive on society. I think if you were to use the slogan, make people more connected or connect the world through technology, of course most people would be on board with that, almost everyone. But in reality, that's not what it is. A real slogan for a social media company might be, exploit you and make the most money off of advertisements stealing your attention. Or, destroy your dopamine receptors by constantly flooding you with addictive tendencies and images. Now, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, and not all social media are created equal, but one need not look further than Reddit to kind of see the echo chambers of which we always speak in conservative circles, but liberals seem completely blissfully unaware of. Just because you only hear one side of an argument doesn't make it true. Just because everyone agrees with one side of an argument does not make it true. Reddit seems blissfully unaware that people outside of it do not hold the same opinions, and in some cases hold vastly different opinions than the large majority on Reddit. I think one of the reasons for this is Reddit is skewed Canadian, and is skewed female, and is skewed youth or younger. I could be wrong on those, but those are all intuitive senses of mine. Any platform that people immediately pounce on you if you have a differing opinion and say that you're evil, or you should get out, or that they want to kill you or want to dox you, that's probably not a good place, and I don't think it's made the world a better place. In days of past, forums, or public forums, rather, such as public squares in towns or halls, used to be accessible for all because the only rite of passage was being able to speak and being able to think. Not anymore. Social media has rites of passage that go way deeper than just being able to type or use your thumbs. You need to know so much. You need to have so many assumptions set aside before you say anything on social media, because the mob does not care that you are new and that you don't know about all these societal, and I say societal as in inside of social media, norms. Just like at school, where the first day, if you've moved from out of town, you might not know that everyone changes shoes when they go inside. For instance, my elementary school, we wore indoor shoes. A new kid might not know that rule, and they wear their dirty shoes inside. This isn't a crime, but for some reason, children are especially apt, and youth as well, to notice things that aren't like them, and they might ridicule or otherwise make fun of the child that didn't know the rule, just because they didn't know. And that's what I feel a big problem with social media is that they ridicule everything that is different, just because it is different. Social media is making sheep even more sheep. They're just followers. They get all of their opinions online. They get everything that they want to hear every time they turn on the screen. This is dangerous for multiple reasons, but I won't go into the echo chamber principle. I think that's pretty well covered. What I want to talk about instead is suggestivity. If you are suggested something by someone else, for instance by watching this video, you might have heard an idea that you agree with. But you have to agree with it for it to stick in your mind. People are very suggestible and gullible, and just because you hear something online does not obviously make it true, but if only that were so intuitive for other people, or for most people. My fear is that elites and social or intellectual elites put their opinions online in disproportionate numbers. Other people read them and say, yes, I mostly agree with that, because the left focuses a lot more on their messaging, their branding, and their marketing than the right does. They focus on the way a message sounds a lot more, rather than just the substance of the message. A great example of this are mainstream conservatives like Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about your feelings. That's a well-branded message, but it's out of the norm for him. He likes to just say things very quickly. He likes to get his ideas out as much on how things sound or how they might come across. If we're ever going to win this culture war, and I really hope that we do, we need to focus more as conservatives on the way our messages sound. We need to focus more on what we can do to bring leftists over to our side, not just constantly beat them over the head with facts. And trust me, I love facts, I do, but they don't convince people the way emotional arguments do. I think I'm going to leave the video there. Please subscribe if you aren't already. Currently, as I'm recording this, the channel has 0, so you could be the first subscriber. I will personally reach out to you and thank you. Also like this video, as it helps other people find it, as I have very low reach at the moment, but hopefully this channel will grow as people see the validity of my arguments and my ideas. This is Lafin News, and I will see you in the next one.